we'll take a look at how you can make a positive change in your life through this summary. Developing the right habits will make it easier. The process of creating positive change. Listen to these tips to discover a lot about habits. What are they? How can you configure it? More importantly, how can you hold on to its positives? You can achieve incredible results by following simple instructions and changing a few small behaviors. So let's get started. Imagine a plane taking off from Los Angeles to New York. If the pilot decided to adjust course during takeoff by 3.5 degrees to the south, the nose of the plane would move only a few feet and no one outside the cockpit would notice the small movement. But over the course of a cross-country flight, the impact of the change will be significant, and confused passengers will land from their plane in Washington, not New York. We don't notice subtle changes because their immediate impact is minimal. If you run for 20 minutes today and you are out of shape today, this will not change tomorrow. If you eat a family-sized pizza for dinner, this will not make you fat overnight. But if we repeat small behaviors day after day, our choices will have big results. If you eat pizza every day, it is likely that your weight will increase significantly after a year. Go for a run for 20 minutes every day, and you will eventually be fitter and fitter, although you will not notice the slight change. If you want to make positive change in your life, you must realize that change requires patience and confidence, that your habits are keeping you on the right track, even if you do not see immediate results. Therefore, if you find that your behaviors and habits are not paying off, try focusing on the current path rather than your current results. If you have little money in the bank but are saving some each month, then you are on the right track. Your current results may not be great, but keep trying. And within a few months or a few years, you will notice a significant improvement. In contrast, a millionaire who spends his earnings every month may not worry about his bank statements from month to month, but will discover the consequences in the long run. Your path to making big changes in your life does not have to be fraught with major upheavals. You don't need to revolutionize your behavior or reinvent yourself. Instead, you can make small changes to your behavior, and when you repeat this over and over again, you will stick to some habits that will lead to big results. The first thing you do when you enter a dark room is to light it instinctively without thinking about what to do next. It is a habit. Any behavior that you have repeated many times until it now happens automatically. How are habits formed? Our brain discovers how to respond to new situations through a process of trial and error. The 19th century psychologist Edward Thorndike was famous for this experiment, where he placed cats in a black box. As expected, each cat immediately tried to escape from the box, sniffing the corners and scratching the walls. In the end, the cats found a lever that opened the door when pressed, enabling them to escape. Thorndike then took the cats that had succeeded in escaping and repeated the experiment again. Thorndike then took the cats that had succeeded in escaping and repeated the experiment again. What was the result? Each cat learned the trick of being placed in the box a few times, and instead of scrambling for a minute or so, the cats went straight to the lever. The average cat can escape in just 6 seconds after 20 or 30 attempts. In other words, the process of leaving the box has become a normal matter. Thorndike discovered that behaviors that give satisfactory results, such as gaining freedom in this case, are often repeated until they become automatic. In the same way, we also find satisfactory solutions to life's difficulties and dilemmas serendipitously in the parable of cats in the 19th century. Fortunately, we now understand more about how habits work. Habits often begin with a cue or incentive to do something. Entering a dark room motivates you to do something that enables you to see. Next comes the desire to change the current situation, which, according to this example, is to be able to see. Then comes the response or action of pressing the light switch. The final step in the process is the reward, which is the feeling of comfort and satisfaction coming from being able to see what surrounds you. The reward also represents the ultimate goal of each habit. Every habit is subject to this same process. Do you drink coffee every morning? Waking up is the signal that stimulates your desire to feel awake. The response here is to get out of bed and make a cup of coffee. And your reward will be feeling alert and ready to face the world. However, not all habits are good for us. Let's take a look at how to build positive habits that improve our lives. We all have signals that trigger certain habits. The phone ringing, for example, is a signal to check your messages. Once you understand that certain stimuli can encourage our habit, you can then use this knowledge to change your habits. How do we do that? Changing your surroundings and general environment to build better habits is one of the most important ways to do this. Just think of the work of Boston-based Dr. Anne Thorndike. She wanted to improve her patients' eating habits without requiring them to make a conscious decision. How did you succeed in that? She rearranged the hospital cafeteria. The refrigerators next to the cash registers contained only soda at first. Thorndike added water bottles to each drinking station. Soft drink sales decreased by 11% over a 3-month period, while water sales increased by 25%. Since the idea of drinking water instead of soda was easier in this situation, people are now making healthier choices. Simple changes to our environment can make a big difference. Do you want to learn to play guitar? Place the guitar in an obvious place in the room. Are you trying to eat healthier snacks? Leave it on the table instead of putting it in a drawer. Make your signals as clear as possible to increase your likelihood of responding to them. The second great way to motivate and strengthen signals is to adopt a plan to implement these intentions. We often tend to give a vague tone to our intentions. We often say, "I will have a better year." Then we simply hope it happens. An implementation intention provides a clear action plan that specifies when and where to practice the habit you want to develop. Research shows that this would work. A study conducted on voters in the United States showed that citizens who asked the question, "When will you vote? How will you get to the polling station?" they are more likely to actually participate in the proposal process than those who were just asked if they would vote. So don't just say, "I'll run a lot." Say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. When the alarm goes off, "I'll put on my running gear and run 2 miles. Then leave your running shoes in an obvious place. Only then will you give yourself a clear plan and a clear signal. And you may be surprised how easy it is to build a positive running habit. Neuroscientists James Olds and Peter Milner conducted an experiment to test the normal theory of desire in 1954. They blocked the release of the neurotransmitter dopamine in mice using electrodes, and the mice simply lost the will to live in a surprising way. She no longer has a desire to eat, drink, reproduce, or do anything else. They all died of thirst as a result of this after a few days. The human brain secretes dopamine, which is a hormone that makes us feel happy after doing pleasurable things, such as eating or having sex, but we also get a dose of dopamine that makes us feel happy when we anticipate these pleasurable activities. It's the brain's way of pushing us forward and encouraging us to do things. Therefore, wanting something is equated with getting this thing in the brain's reward system. This finding helps explain why older children enjoy anticipating Christmas. This is the same reason why imagining your next date can be so much fun. We can use this knowledge to our advantage when trying to form habits. If we make a habit something to look forward to, we will be more effective at following through and actually doing it. A great way to do this is to collect temptations. This happens when you think that a behavior is important but unattractive to you. So you associate it with a behavior that is attractive to you, or a behavior that will generate stimulating dopamine in you. For example, Irish engineering student Ronan Byrne knows. He should exercise more, but he doesn't enjoy doing it at all and instead enjoys watching Netflix. That's why Byrne hacked an exercise bike, connected it to his laptop, and created a code that prevents him from watching Netflix unless he rides the bike at a certain speed. Turn a distasteful activity into a fun one. By associating exercise with a behavior they're naturally drawn to. You don't need to be an engineer to apply this in your life. If you need to exercise, but want to stay up to date on the latest gossip, you can force yourself to only read magazines while you're at the gym. If you want to watch sports but need to make sales calls, consider yourself a half hour of ESPN Sports after speaking to your 10th client. Soon, you may find those unattractive tasks enjoyable because you expect a pleasant reward after performing them. Thank you to everyone who watched this video, discussing the first part of the book Atomic Habits by author James Clear. I hope you enjoyed and benefited from the information and ideas presented. If you found the video helpful and inspiring, please click the like button and share it with your friends and family. We also invite you to subscribe to the channel to receive all future videos on book summaries and personal development. We express our deep gratitude to all of you for your ongoing support and encouragement. We strive to provide content that meets your needs and accompanies you on your journey of personal growth. Please feel free to leave your comments and suggestions below. Let's make this channel a small community for book lovers and personal development enthusiasts. Thank you all once again, and see you soon in the next part of the book.